federal government to create 21 million jobs between 2023 and 2027. 2024 appropriation bill passes second reading as Nigerians commend President Tinubu over budget. Good evening and welcome to NTA Ijebu ode News at 7. Thanks for being there. I am Olawunmi Adeniji, and here are the details. The federal government is to create 21 million jobs for Nigerians between 2023 and 2027 and lift 35 million people out of poverty. This is coming from the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, at the launch of Nigeria's Decent Work Country programs. Ignatius Nko, Asma.
Quality workforce, labor protection and workers' welfare remains a global concern. The United Nations, through its organ, the International Labour Organization, is at the driver's seat of this global campaign under the Decent Work Country program, a United Nations document which seeks to mobilize resources for the achievement of a happy workforce through social justice.
And these are issues that has to do with fundamental principles and rights at work. So the work that we have been doing with social partners, with the ministry around issues of child labor, for an example, those are key fundamental issues.
I think it is significant that Nigeria is currently the chair of the ILO Executive Council, is that what it's called, governing board.
At the launch of Nigeria's Decent Work Country Program 3, the Ministry of Labour and Employment hopes to leverage on this campaign to achieve federal government's plans of improving on social justice to all segments of Nigerian workers and create more jobs.
It will ensure that existing and new jobs in both the public and private sectors are productive and provide opportunities for career progression to deliver a fair income and social security for the family.
Decent work is that which we ensure that jobs are created for women, men, and youth. And that will also include job for person with disability.
So for us, it's an affirmation that we make and we continue to make, and you can count on the Nigerian Employers Consultative Association and also the organized private sector as a whole.
The program is primarily to ensure that the condition of workers in Nigeria aligns with International Labour Organization standard and national development objectives. Ignatius Nko, NTA News.
Outside said the president at the center
all about the communities. We are pushing for the last mile to end AIDS in Nigeria, and communities are very important. Without communities, we cannot end AIDS.
Let community lead is the Nigerian theme for this year's celebration.
Their leadership and advocacy ensure responses remains relevant and grounded, keeping people at the center and leaving no one behind.
Let us remember that it's communities who were there in the beginning. We all represent a community, and it's communities that are going to lead well into the future and sustain the gains that we've collectively achieved together.
Nigeria is said to be on the right track in HIV intervention, but speakers stress the need for government at all levels to own and sustain funding for HIV to avoid overdependence on foreign aid.
Now we also have issues around improvement in the reduction of the AIDS deaths. It has dropped significantly from over 80,000 many years back to around 30,000 now annually. Also, the new infections has dropped significantly from over 111,000 that it used to be in 2015 to close to about 30,000 what it is now. So Nigeria is making significant progress.
It is instructive to note that emphasis and spotlight is now on leaders at every level to engage our communities in ensuring that we end is by 2030.
Experts advocate for testing as early detection. They noted can save lives. Basi Taikban, NTA News.
Reading at the House of Representatives. This follows extensive debate by lawmakers in the Green Chamber, who applauded the Tinubu administration for boosting capital expenditure and reducing non-debt recurrent overheads in the 2024 estimates. National Assembly correspondent NTA Ijebu ode has the details.
The total budget estimate was 27.5 trillion, which is 7 trillion more than the previous budget. This was done so that within the shortest possible time, Nigeria will feel the impact of the current budget. The traditional 70 to 75% of recurrent expenditure has now been reduced to less than 50%. Expenditure has now increased from the traditional 20% to about 36% of the proposal today.
The presenter of the budget, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that we know from Lagos State, has invested all his life developing people. So this is the speaker that is telling us that human capital development is the benchmark for national development.
This indeed is a commendable budget. I want to first and foremost commend the enthusiasm of Mr. President for presenting a budget of renewed hope, a budget which will go further than ever before in cementing microeconomic stability, reducing deficit, increasing capital spending, and allocation to reflect the 8 priority areas of the administration.
Lack of periodic budget critiquing has been identified as the major cause of non-performance of the yearly budget by successive administration. Reviewing the 2024 budget of the present administration, stakeholders say paradigm shift is critical in the implementation of 2024 appropriation bill. Anthony Gandonu has more.
President Bola Tinubu recently presented the 2024 appropriation bill themed "The Budget of Renewed Hope" to the joint section of the National Assembly. Reacting to the proposed budget, Nigerians say the bill, which seeks, among other things, improving economic growth, a better investment environment, enhancing human capital development, as well as poverty reduction and greater access to social security, will achieve its purpose if there is paradigm shift by actors.
Generally speaking, for me, I think the budget presented looks very ambitious, and if the government can walk the talk, if they are sincere with implementing the budgeted items, then we will say we're on the right path.
The budget be able to revive the economy, look at to reduce level of poverty, to create employment, and to fight insecurity. These are the major thing that he has raised, and when you look at it, these are the major key thing that the economy need at this point in time. That's why I see it as a budget of economic recovery.
Poverty rate in Nigeria is alarming. More than 85% of Nigerians are below poverty line now. So now, thinking of this budget, we have to look at indices, things that we can do, I think in terms of government, that government should do that will actually have positive impact on the lives of the common Nigerians. That is the only thing that government can do as at this point in time. Immediately the budget is passed, let government swing into action.
To improve effectiveness of the budget performance, stakeholders advised the federal government to focus on maintaining value for each expenses.
One thing is to budget, another thing is implementation and monitoring. There should be implementation and monitoring, evaluation of the budget.
What we have witnessed over the years is that a lot of times budgets just remain in the cold print. They are presented, they look very lofty, very ideal, but the sincerity usually is not there. But we want to hope that this time around with this new government, we will have a different experience.
The outgoing year, this 2023 budget, who has given us a kind of performance review analysis? Come and give us the budget performance index of this this outgoing budget, so that we can know where we are, how we are faring, where we are, and where we are going.
The respondents, however, called on the National Assembly to ensure proper implementation of the budget through regular oversight function, as well as create feedback mechanism among the legislature, the executives, and the masses. In Ijebu Ode, Anthony Gandonu, NTA News.
And in the meantime, accolades from economic experts continue to trade the 2024 appropriation bill. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria who described the bill as a budget of pragmatic realities and hope are optimistic that with due diligence projections outlined in the bill, the present challenges will be overcome. Lydia Sampson reports.
The appropriation bill no doubt has weaknesses, but guests are categorical that the strength of the budget outweighs the weakness, making it a laudable effort at upturning the inherent economic challenges. They commended the visible policies and efforts at paying more attention to supply of forests to balance demand and supply.
We're moving in the right direction. Then, of course, you could see a conscious effort to reduce the deficit. And you can see them now targeting the 3% limit, the FRA limit on debt, which is significant. And there are so many indices that you see there that are actually showing that if you look at the assumptions are realistic. They look at the inflation assumption is close to the current assumption, targeting about 21.something%.
They also called for a realistic population data to enable demographic groups and targeted frameworks for seamless proactive implementation.
No matter what parameter you are using, no matter what assumption you are putting on ground, you have to make sure that the economic environment is friendly enough to accept the injection to translate to reality. One assumption that I think we have to be more careful is human capital development targeting children.
The guests are emphatic that President Bola Tinubu's global investment drive, in addition to prioritizing security, will further strengthen collaboration with global investment in various sectors. They urge government to deepen policies that will keep professionals in country rather than chasing them out. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
You're still watching NTA Ijebu ode News. There will be other reports after this time.
Take it from me, the mind-blowing way to do things is the Glow LTE advanced way. When you stream, it's like you're in the drama itself. When you make calls, you reach where others can't. Coffee! Doing business is like running Wall Street from your street. And when you play,
I did beat the guy. We'll see about that.
It's like traveling the world without moving an inch.
Is that Toby in your room?
You can download in the blink of an eye in 4K. Go. And when you go for your dreams, it's like running with the strength of 3 nations behind you.
Glow LTE Advanced, the power of 3 data networks in one. Get a Glow SIM or dial *301#.
Welcome back. The federal government is to add 31 million metric tons of food to the national food supply chain. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security says the expected production will combat food inflation and hunger and reduce poverty in the country. Musa Aliyu completes the report.
Food demand and supply have been a major concern to the global community in recent times. Drop in farmers' output per hectare as a result of the use of poor quality seed is identified as a major challenge in West Africa, including Nigeria. The convergence of experts in seed production here is aimed at identifying how to improve seed supply value chain in Nigeria.
Nigeria and Nigerians need food.
Global Declaration of Food Emergency, the role of the seed industry and ensuring Africa's food and nutrition security is the theme for the meeting.
We will be about 400 million in less than 30 years. The need to scale up our production.
It is estimated that Nigerian farmers require more than 300,000 metric tons of seeds of 5 major staple crops in 2024 planting season.
Seed industry.
Minister of State for Agriculture Aliu Sabi Abdullahi said government has outlined series of critical pathways to solve the food security challenges in the country. He said farmers are being supported with quality seeds for rice, maize and soybeans and other inputs at subsidized rates.
We are committed to creating the enabling environment for both production of more seeds, and this includes availability of early generation seeds. This can only be achieved when our national research institutions are strengthened and we have a good capacity building strategy for breeders.
Consequently, the National Agricultural Seed Council, the minister said, will be focused to increase sensitization, surveillance and enforcement of its laws toward curbing infiltration of uncertified seeds that rob farmers of their value for money. Musa Aliyu, NTA News.
And on that note, we end today's news. Do have a good night.